everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley if you guys are new, and if you are a returning subscriber, I'm so glad you guys are back for another video. Go ahead and click that subscribe button because I know you're going to want to after you watch this video. And follow along on social media where I post exclusive content and giveaways for you guys. You guys love my back to school videos and all of my note-taking and productivity videos, so this year I wanted to bring a brand new, you heard it here first, note-taking video. I get so many questions and comments saying, when is your next note-taking video coming out? And guys, I wanted it to be perfect. So, let's go. So this particular note-taking video is going to be one of 3 or 4 that we're doing. Yes. Can you be any more excited? This one is all about how to take notes from a textbook in a really easy way, so that way when you go back to read and study, this is very easy for you to figure out exactly what you need to read, and it helps you to organize all of the different categories in that subject. I'm also giving you guys a free printable that's kind of like a cheat sheet key for you guys, so that way if you do forget what your code system is, you got it with you all the time. You can just put it in your notebook, you can tape it to your book, whatever. So first of all, what you need to do is figure out what subject you want to focus on. So let's just hypothetically say we are choosing history. So in your history book, I'm sure that you have your chapters, maybe they're divided up by units, and then there's probably major topics within all of those. You're gonna have things like dates, time, that's the same thing, Hale. Important people, places, events, things that are like major points. All of these things are going to add up to basically create a story that you will end up taking a test on. So you're going to pick 4 colors. We're gonna keep it simple, start with 4. You might need more depending on the subject. Blue, green, pink, and orange. Now, you don't have to pick these colors, but for keeping it simple, this is what we're doing. So let's start off with the blue. The first thing you're gonna do when you open your textbook to that particular chapter that you're studying is to scan all of the headers, so that way you kind of have an idea of what it is you're studying. And then on your note sheet, I would write down just in the beginning like a summary with the objective of that chapter or unit. So blue is kind of the most miscellaneous. It's gonna be just random things that don't really fall into a category, maybe like an important quote or an interesting random fact that you might need to know. Now, if you're not allowed to highlight in your book, if you have to give them back at the end of the year, every time you guys start a new chapter, you could photocopy your pages, and that way you can highlight from there. Or I recommend just taking your notes in this order and using the color system to highlight your notes later on. Okay, so pink is going to be words, names, dates, and places. So basically your nouns, your pronouns. They're going to be nouns that answer who, what, when, and where. Super simple for history. So it's people, where they lived, that sort of thing. All right, moving on to green. Green's a little weird. Green is going to be one of those things where if there's a list or question, this one may not pertain as much to history as it would to something like science or math, but it's lists, questions that go into order. If something has to have an A before you can have a B kind of a thing, or like any type of ordinal number system like first, second, or third. So like first this happens, then this happens, then that happens, we're gonna use green. For example, like cell reproduction, like that whole entire system has a like lineage to how it works. So those would be how you would highlight it. You would pick a color for different types of things that go into order. Does that make sense? Orange is another funky one. You guys may be thinking that this is kind of a confusing system, and I know from the start it would seem that way, but when you really break it down, this is really how teachers and professors kind of structure exams. You're always answering questions, but it's the way that they word them, and if you can study in that format, it can really be beneficial to you. So, orange is conjunctive adverbs. What the heck does that mean? So orange is going to answer those questions that say finally, however, therefore. They are examples and figures of speech. So when you get to the end of a unit in your history lesson, it's like, therefore, this and this and this happens. Or if you're doing math and a certain, way that an equation works, this plus this, therefore this would be this. So it's, excuse me, Zuka is down here playing with plastic bags, having a really good time. This is really great for history and literature as well, because one of those kind of key figures of speech, like consequently or however, works a lot when you're reading historical books or literature, because when you get asked a question on an exam, maybe you have an essay question and you have to like explain something and you need to know all the parts of the story and why things happened, you can use those interjectory words like however and therefore, and you can remember that orange in your textbook answered that question. So for example, like if you're talking about Pearl Harbor and it's like, although, you know, the Japanese, you know, blank, blank, and blank, the American ships, the Americans, blah, 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 blah. So you're kind of figuring the conclusion to the end of the chapter using the color orange. So this is a new way of highlighting and learning, but I think it makes more sense to how we are actually tested. You know, you're not just tested on facts usually. I mean, they help, but you're always kind of putting together a story. And I feel like if you can get used to highlighting in a way that's answering all these questions in different ways, it can be a real lifesaver. So again, I know it seems kind of confusing, but I'm gonna have that cheat sheet down there for you guys. I'll have two different versions. One is filled out exactly how I stated it in the video, and the other is gonna give you guys free range to make it however fits you and what colors you want to use. So if you guys like these type of productivity or homework study style videos, give this one a thumbs up. It helps me out to know what you guys want to see. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, it's right here. And follow along on my social media where I do exclusive content. Plus, like, it's just fun. Like, you can see pictures of my cat and like what I eat, and like, who doesn't want to see that? But as always, I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in the next video.